Finance Committee is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. Do I have a motion to open our meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are open. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight should be pretty quick. Basically, we have one reserve fund transfer that the Board of Selectmen talked about last night. It has to do with the purchasing of the 2 electric Chevy Bolts where the leases have expired and no appropriation was made during the 2023 May annual town meeting to buy out the remaining balance on the vehicles. So the balance for the 2 vehicles is $41,128. There was a third vehicle, a Nissan Leaf, that was also in the mix, but they had issues with that one, and they didn't feel it was a good idea to try and hold on to that one because they probably felt like they're going to be fixing a lot. So they're going to give that one back, and we're going to hold on to the 2 Chevy Bolts.
What happens if they have a problem with either one of them?
Well, I believe they're going to have to be fixed by the dealership.
Are they warranted or for how long?
I believe they're still in the warranty. I don't know how long the warranty.
If they purchase them, will they get a warranty with it?
I don't know.
I personally have a concern of the age of these vehicles being electric. They're at least 3 years old now. And with Bob, I think we make sure we have some way of protecting these. I mean, if we're going to sit there and buy these cars, two cars for $41,000, that's, I'm not sure if we should look into getting new leases instead of buying a whole ones. And, you know, we're down 1 car, so if there was originally 3 cars, where's the 3rd one? You know, how's that affecting other people?
Well, apparently, the individual that was using that 3rd vehicle feels like he just wants to use his pickup truck to do what he needs to do.
The planner, I think, or not the planner, the building inspector.
I think it was the building, yeah, exactly, the building inspector. So he didn't want to continue using it anyway.
Okay.
So there was going to be an extra vehicle just sitting around. And they've had issues with that one, so that's why they didn't want to keep that one.
I know I've always, my concern, if those batteries need to get replaced, you might as well buy a whole new vehicle at that point. So I don't know what the useful life is on it. And it doesn't sound like those questions got answered.
The issue with this is that it's time sensitive. So if they're gonna do this, it has to be done by the 11th of August.
Right.
Okay.
So here was my question, because I think originally the comment was these leases came across as like a state funded option. The state covered the costs.
Green Communities Grant.
Right. So wouldn't this be just like any other item that we have in the past that if we can't count on it for state funds, it should have been in the budget to begin with? So we knew the leases were expiring. Why is this down to a fire drill where we really aren't even given options at this point to?
I personally don't know, but I think it was just forgotten about. That's just my opinion. I don't know for a fact.
Well, that's a problem, right? Because now we're on the hook for 41,000 plus whatever the expenses are, and we don't even know if they're covered under warranty.
Right.
If you send them back, you get X amount of dollars for them back and put it down, and then just make the lease payments on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works with a lease like that.
I don't remember from last night's meeting. If I don't want to assume there's still a warranty, but they did talk about this. So, yeah.
I don't feel comfortable.
I want to pull up the meeting on here and listen to the discussion. You guys want?
I mean, at this point, the
I don't know
selectmen
if
have already,
did, but there was so much.
You
at
guys
this
want?
point, the selectmen have already approved it. Right?
Yes.
So it's not like it's waiting for our recommendation.
Do you want to hear the discussion from last night? Meeting.
No. I'm just frustrated that the discussion wasn't had before a decision was made.
Well, let's take a listen.
The selectmen has already approved it. We have actually no say
Yeah,
on
we,
it.
Yeah, we just have to transfer the money.
Yeah, well, that's it.
John, why don't we, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into a recess right now. John,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion to reopen?
Motion to reopen meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are back open to discuss the reserve fund transfer of $41,128 for the purchase of the 2 electric Chevy Bolts. Let's continue the discussion.
So after listening to the selectmen's points last night from the meeting, it was apparent that the 2 vehicles were not used often. We've had them for 3 years. They said they had a couple of thousand miles on them each. To them, it made financial, fiscal sense to purchase the vehicles outright because they had 2 vehicles that are almost new. To me, it doesn't make financial, fiscal sense because the option is to either pay mileage to somebody to reimburse for personal use or to buy vehicles for $41,000. If they used a couple of thousand miles in 3 years, we're talking about an expense probably less than $5,000 in 3 years. It doesn't make sense to spend $41,000 for vehicles that are not getting used when our secondary option is to pay personal mileage. I think we'd save the town $35,000 by saying no to the transfer.
Yeah, I mean, we missed out on the Green Communities grant that could have easily paid for the replacement, but for whatever reason, we never pursued that, so, yeah, I'm not for it, so I'm in agreement with Pete.
Gentlemen?
I think, this early in the fiscal year, that's a lot of money to take out of the reserve fund. Because we don't have a lot of money in the reserve fund initially.
Yep.
And we've got, 11 more months to go, 10 more months to go. So that would be my concern. As far as the mileage, and I don't know if all the employees have access to a personal vehicle that they can use for the, and collect the mileage on. I don't know that information, but
I mean, my understanding is the reserve fund should be used for emergency use for an expense that pops up that we absolutely need to cover. To me, this doesn't seem like an expense that we need to cover. I think the money could be better used in the town.
Well, the other information that we don't have is the warranty information, correct? So,
I mean,
I
that's
thought
the
that
other.
was a concern.
I don't think we have enough information actually to make a firm decision.
Even if it's under warranty, we still have some type of maintenance, regular maintenance for wear and tear that would come into play that would increase that amount of expense over 3 years worth of time.
plus the
And-
initial expense is so big,
Yeah.
40 grand.
40 grand plus expenses compared to $5,000 in mileage reimbursement. And to me, it doesn't make sense to buy the vehicles. I'd say let them go back to the dealers. Unless there's some cost to the town for not purchasing them, but it doesn't seem like
Well,
there
that's-
would be because there's high mileage, there's not high mileage on the vehicles.
Right, that's an unknown because some of this was originally covered through a Green Communities grant.
I would think that if there's low mileage, there's gonna be there'll be a credit. Because when you lease, if you don't, like you get 336, for a 3-year lease, you only use 20, there's a certain wiggle room that they give you towards a trade-in or whatever. So we don't know if that's the case here either, but
You say that grant money is still available?
to my knowledge it is. It's just it was never pursued because we don't have the proper staff to apply for that grant, so.
If they don't renew the lease and that grant money is still available, then perhaps we could encourage someone to do.
Pursue it
And
again
a
later.
new lease at that point, if we get a green grant coming back, but I'd rather see that money go to something that gets more use than a couple of thousand miles in 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are all questions that we should, that we have an answer for, I think. And I don't know how much the selectmen are under the gun to get this done by Friday, but and what the consequences are.
Well, I think the vehicles have to get returned, I believe.
The lease is up on that date.
With
Yeah.
expenses or without expenses?
That I don't know.
Like I said, I don't think we have enough information
Yeah.
on the whole works on that to make a firm decision.
With the known information that we have and what came out of the meeting last night, my vote would be no.
Mhm.
So, I know Mr. Kelly's not here.
You know, is he available for a phone call? We take another recess?
I could, and if I can try and reach out, do you want me to try and get some more
Get some
information
more
right now?
knowledge, yeah?
Before we make the final decision on this?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, if we can,
Yeah,
if
if
we
we get
can.
more information, fine. That'd be
Either that, if we can't continue the meeting till
Yeah,
tomorrow.
this is not too close to a window. You can't-
Tomorrow.
All right, let's somebody make a motion.
Make a
to
motion
go
that
back
we
into
take a recess.
Let's try and get.
Second.
Okay, we are back in recess. Okay, do we have a motion to reopen our meeting once again?
We open the meeting again.
All right, for the folks out there watching, we don't usually run into issues like this, but, we needed to get some more information on this, since it's a rather, large transfer, and it's early in the fiscal year. We want some more information. Pete had some good questions, some good points. So you want to bring those up again, Pete?
Sure. My concern is that we'd be spending $41,000 for vehicles that were minimally used over the past 3 years. That if we did make that outlay expense, not only would it be the $41,000, it would be the upkeep and maintenance over that 3-year period plus time for whatever the useful life is. But if we took that out completely, and we looked at the secondary option, the Plan B, which would be reimbursing mileage on personal car expenses needed for town business, our expenses would be less than $5,000 for that same mileage use over the last 3,000 years. And it doesn't make sense for me, for the town to spend $41,000 plus maintenance for what would have maxed out at less than $5,000 over a 3-year period of time. So I make a motion that if nobody else has anything.
Does anybody else
we take a
want to
vote.
add anything to it?
I think it's.
I would like to add that, the other issue with this is not having, the warranty information. How much is it to fix these vehicles? They'll have to go back to the dealership, so these are unknowns. I think we all know that there are issues with electric vehicle batteries, and they're very costly to replace. So if we spend $41,128 right now, and one of these batteries in these vehicles lets go next year, the year after, and let's say it's $5,000 to $10,000 to replace a battery, that just doesn't make this look cost effective, right?
So given that, I'll second Pete's motion.
I just made a motion.
So you made the motion
Yeah,
to not approve?
How about,
The reserve
I'll
fund.
make the motion to vote, just right,
Oh, okay.
so.
I'm against. Oh, we need a
All right,
second.
so somebody needs to make a motion that we're not going to approve this reserve fund transfer.
I make a motion that this reserve fund transfer is not approved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion fails. So we're not going to approve that at this time. All right, let me pull up the other items on the agenda here. So I guess we could say we just saved the taxpayers $41,000.
Say that correctly.
Well, and then, the other issue is we allocate $150,000 into the reserve fund transfer, into our reserve fund. And that's gonna put a big dent in that balance right off the bat.
You take 1/3 right off the top.
Yeah.
That's
So,
This early in the fiscal year, that's,
and, you know, to Pete's point, this isn't an emergency situation. So I think it's something that we can definitely put off for now. I mean, in the past, everybody had their own vehicle, they used it.
Maybe pursue it in the future if we get another green communities grant.
those grants are available, then that's a good option for the selectmen to pursue.
You go back to it and get it.
Well, second time around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
We put that money to use and bring somebody on board that can fill these grants out and bring the town more income coming in via the state or federal government.
All right, so gentlemen, that was a good discussion, good way to handle business. You know, get all the facts as much as we can before we just, you know, we don't. Yeah, we don't want to be considered as, you know, rubber stampers here, and we're certainly not going to do that with this. So, okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of 2 sets of minutes. First from April 5th, 2023. I don't have who is in attendance. Eric, do you have that?
So in attendance was Chairman Michael Boucher, myself, Eric Chu, Robert Ferrer, and Robert St. Jean. I make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay, the minutes of April 5th passed. And then the next set of minutes was from May 17, 2023.
Attendance was Chairman Michael Boucher, Vice Chair Susan Delgado, Peter Benoit, myself, Eric Chu, Robert Ferrer, and Eric McGlynn. I make a motion to accept these minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes also passed. All right. Next on the agenda is old business. Does anybody have any old business they need to discuss or want to discuss?
I do not have.
Okay, under new business, I would like to announce that we officially have a new FinCom member coming on board with us. I think we all know her very well, Kristen Flynn. She's been a lifelong Acushnet resident, former town employee for 16 years, did her job very well, and has served the town well, and is looking to, you know, volunteer her time, which is a commendable thing because it's not easy to get, you know, people to volunteer on these committees. And, you know, the finance committee is, you know, I'll say it, probably one of the most important committees in our town, probably now more than ever. And we need good people serving on this committee. Her resume speaks for itself. She's more than qualified to be on this committee, and I think she's going to be a great addition to our committee for the you know, the foreseeable future.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
It still leaves us down one.
So what's just one?
Yeah. So to that, we are still short one member. So if any of you gentlemen have any friends out there and want to volunteer, let's start getting the word out. Let's see if we can have a full roster, a full complement of FinCom members for the start, at least for, hopefully for January. Because that's when we really get into the nitty-gritty of budgets, analyzing everything. You know, and if we have the full 9 members, it makes life a lot easier. You know, if one of us can't be here, you know, because we need five of us here for a quorum like we have tonight. And, you know, with us being short 2 members for a while now, if somebody's sick, somebody's not feeling good, you know, we all have personal lives, things come up, right? So, and then if we can't come here and take votes, the town business is not getting done. And that's not good for the town. So, that was the driving force behind this, was simply a numbers issue. That's what we're all about, is numbers, and we needed some good qualified folks to serve, and she had a request out there, and I'm glad she was still available and still wanted to serve our committee.
So listening to the meeting from yesterday, it's a pretty good pedigree of her knowledge in finances, so she'd definitely be a real good asset.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, 100%. One other thing, one other thing that was discussed at last night's Board of Selectmen meeting, which I was in attendance, was a preliminary fall town meeting date, which I believe they set for November 6th. So as I mentioned, that is preliminary, so that could be subject to
Yes.
change. Yeah, November 6th, right now is the target date. So we will more than likely have a few meetings prior to that. So we'll keep everybody informed, myself, Kathy, you know, as the time gets closer. I don't think we're gonna have any meetings coming up in the next few weeks. You know, fingers crossed, yeah. So I think we might have the rest of the summer off, right? No, not.
Well, okay, that's class, so he's
All
there.
right, so we'll see. It's been so far it's been a good summer. Hope everybody's been enjoying themselves, you know, taking a little time. That's when most of us, I think, take our time off, is in the summer here. So it's been good. Looking forward to a good fall town meeting. You know, during those town meetings, it's typically a lot of non-spending issues, but you know, any bylaw changes, all that is important stuff too, because ultimately that can affect the town's economics. You know, and as a finance committee, you know, we have to really you know, keep a conservative approach, in my opinion, to everything. Because we've seen a lot of these budgets grow exponentially over the last 5 years. You know, and some are bigger than others. And our job is to scrutinize these budgets and, you know, to get full transparency from every department that presents their budget to us. And, you know, we're not going to accept anything less than that going forward.
We're going to attempt to get the budget process started earlier this year than last year.
For the annual?
For the annual.
Yeah, I would like to.
The budget reviews.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'd like to
We were
get-
kind of under the gun last year.
Right, I don't, yeah, it's good to have that extra time at the end, before the actual town meeting, in case there's any, you know, loose ends to cover.
Well, we did try and start earlier this year, but we tried to start earlier, none of the departments could fit into that time.
Right, so I think that would be a conversation for myself to have, with probably Mr. Kelly, to make sure that he gets some notifications out ahead of time to the department heads, to have their budgets, you know, ready to go for us to start the review process relatively early. So almost like right after the new year, you know?
We finished early too this year, a couple weeks too, I think.
1 week.
Yeah.
Just 1 week.
We
That
did,
final week before the town meeting, we didn't have to meet, which was nice.
we did, but we know every year has a different set of challenges.
You just have that buffer.
Yeah, and I mean, this year's gonna be no different. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be, you know, a lot of challenging things that are gonna be presented before us. And,
Well, we had a lot of unanswered questions on certain budgets last year before town meeting. And those, in my opinion, those questions were never answered. We never had those folks come back before us because of time constraints.
right. Yeah, so it's always nice to have that buffer
Exactly.
in case we wanna bring, you know, a department head back in,
Exactly.
to ask questions. So I think, you know, this year, you know, our job is to, you know, be prepared, prepare questions for them, so we have, you know, all our answers, right?
Are we gonna reorganize and, as far as, I know Bob brought up the golf committee before.
Yeah, I think,
As far as the assignments for the different members.
yeah, that's another thing we'll do. And maybe we can address that in our upcoming meetings before the fall town meeting.
That'd be great.
Is work on the liaison roles. More than likely, myself and Sue are going to remain liaisons to the school department. That's not going to change, I can tell you that right now.
I'll stay with Old Colony,
Pete.
but Chris and Ed welcome on
Pete, you're
board
going
too.
to stay with Old Colony?
I'd love to, yeah.
Eric, do you have a liaison role?
I had the library before, I didn't really do anything last year.
Okay.
Where else I would
Did you serve as a liaison to any?
Prior to my illness there, I fire, police, and select.
It's a big duty there.
But
All right, so it's all, this is something well, once we have everybody, because there's obviously only 5 of us here tonight, so we're short a few members. So when we have our full complement of members, that'll be the perfect time to get into that and assign roles. We know some of them that are going to stay the same, like I just mentioned. And, if there's any departments out there looking, for a liaison, we'll see if we can, meet that request to the best of our ability.
We've had a lot of turnover in the last year or so, town personnel. So there needs to be some communications. I know we have a new library director,
And it's probably, it's probably a good idea to revisit, we should revisit it every year anyway, because we could anticipate something in a certain department, and that might need, more attention for that coming year. So maybe we can, find some of that information out ahead of time, what departments are looking to add a liaison, so I'll try and have that conversation with Mr. Kelly before we have our next couple meetings.
How long do we have Mr. Kelly for?
I think another 2 or
17 months.
yeah, I think almost another 2 years.
So through 2025, fiscal.
I believe so. Yeah, so we don't have to go down that search yet, but, we're still, I think as a town, we're still looking to fill employee positions and some key roles, right?
Very
So-
important roles, yes.
So hopefully we get those roles filled sooner than later.
Liaisons, when they reach out to different department heads, have a good insight as to what the needs are for the department, even before they present their budgets. So it kind of gives us a head start in the budget review process. That's the way, it operated before, so I think it's important to have that liaison to the different departments.
Well, even, the other discussion is, our own committee. I think I'm up 2024, I think Sue is as well. I don't know if anybody that will, you're not.
This will be my last.
Yeah, so,
How many 3 years?
I'm planning on continuing, so I'm not
I don't have a choice,
going
but
anywhere.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I'm not going anywhere, so, God willing.
Motion that we keep him for the rest of eternity.
Second.
I was making a joke because I turned 55 a couple days ago, so nobody in my family's ever made it to 100. So
45 more years.
I want to try and hit that goal if I can.
More than halfway.
That's a scary goal.
I don't know.
More than halfway.
I don't know, being in this role, I don't know, that might knock some years off, so.
Well, I can't lose any more hair, let's put it that way. So that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I'm definitely out of place here. Jeez.
All right, anybody else have anything to discuss?
Nope, I make a motion to adjourn, sir.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.